Welcome back to New Rockstars. WandaVision series finale definitely made a mark. It may have confused you. It may have made you cry. It may have presented some questions for what's coming up in the MCU, and we're going to do our best to give you some answers. Hey, spoiler warning for the season finale if you are just joining us now. I'm Eric Voss. I'm here with Jessica Clemens. How you doing, Jess? I'm feeling
I'm feeling meh.
And this video is brought to you by Privacy. Privacy lets you buy things online using virtual cards, protecting your identity and bank information on the internet. And that's a treat for my viewers. New customers will get $5 to spend on their first purchase when they go to privacy.com/newrockstars to sign up now. This is a bonus episode 9 Q&A that we are doing with our listeners on Stereo. We're recording this live the morning of the episode drop. Download Stereo for free at stereo.com/newrockstars. Let's take our first question, Jess.
In your opinion, why do you think Vision did not tell Wanda that he uploaded his memories into White Vision?
Oh yeah, I guess he just didn't have time, but realistically he should have. He was probably so emotionally like, I'm about to lose my wife and I love her and my kids are asleep and they're gonna die.
Yeah, that hex wall was rushing in.
It was coming quick. He was like, just the imagine being like, I have 30 seconds to tell you exactly how I feel, but I don't want to lose you. I feel like he just didn't have time. But realistically, I guess he should have been like, it's okay, I might be gone, but there's another Vision running around with my memories. You can somehow get him to love you.
Or maybe he's like, it's kind of like a lover who's about to die who doesn't want their spouse to remarry. It's like,
oh yeah,
you better die alone now.
I'm
you will forever be a widow.
Okay.
No, but we should talk about White Vision, right? And like what he is now in the MCU going forward, because he has all the memories of Vision. It was kind of like a callback to Ultron, right? Of when Vision grabbed Ultron's head. And because we know you've all been watching Ultron, it's been like recommended, please watch this after every episode of WandaVision. And his mind glowed from blue to orange. Go Gators.
Yes.
Ba-ba-da-da-da. And But yeah, I think that's what this means now. We are now, Vision in the MCU, for all intents and purposes, is just going to be this spectral Vision. And he's going to have a role to play. And I think that's why Vision didn't tell Wanda, is he didn't want Wanda to interfere with what this Vision's journey is going forward. He understood that this Vision now needed to move forward without being tied back or held back by the Scarlet Witch.
I also think that this Vision still has questions. So he still was like figuring out himself as a robot. So I do think overall right now, he probably went back to S.W.O.R.D. to go figure out like, I was a corpse and they were going to use me as an asset. Or he could have gone back to like Stark Industries and been like, this is what I feel like because he can't like jump like Wanda can. Right? He can't just go through realities. And even if like S.W.O.R.D. didn't give him that ability to do that. So he's stuck on Earth.
He's not like,
where is he going? Yeah, so it's like, where is he going on Earth? And I think it's to find more about himself. But I don't think loving Wanda is still an emotion, and he just got the memories. He didn't get the feeling.
Right. No, well, you're right, Jess. I think that was when Wanda said, what are you? You are the part of the Mind Stone that exists in me. So spelling out that link, White Vision doesn't have that link. He's his own thing. That's just kind of the corporeal form of Vision's corpse.
Yeah.
And when she put her hand over him in S.W.O.R.D. headquarters, she says, I can't feel you. So I think that was why Vision just kind of let White Vision go on his own journey. They were just talking about the ship of Theseus, this logical, philosophical argument about what is something made of, essentially. They kind of spelled it out in the episode, but the ship of Theseus thing, it's like, it was an argument presented by Plato, a lot of these ancient Greek philosophers, in which like once the pieces of something get swapped out, is it still what it once was? And I think the argument underneath that is what makes up the identity, the soul. Where is it? Is it nested in your head? Is it in your brain? Is it in your heart? Is it all throughout your body? Like if your body gets stripped limb from limb, as Vision has been, where is his soul nested? Where is it rooted? And the argument at the end of the day is that both of them are kind of still the essence of it. Or what Vision actually said was memory. Memory makes the soul.
We're a memory. We're getting like a Gamora without fast forward, but we're getting like a Gamora story where it's like Like Gamora lost
A Gamoree?
but if Gamora got a Gamoree. I don't want to give away our big question. We talk about this a little bit in our big question that's going to drop on Tuesday, which you guys are going to have such a ball. It's so bananas. It's me and Tommy Bechtold, so you can only imagine how crazy this
I can't wait to
episode
see this.
is.
I love you guys so much. I can't wait to see what bullshit you come up with.
As soon as it was just me and Tommy, I was like, oh my God, we're going to go so crazy. We're just gonna be... But yeah, I do think that Vision, I don't know. He's just wandering as Vision. And he doesn't have that. It'll be so sad if we get Wanda meeting up with Vision and being like, I'm still in love with you. And he's like, I don't have the same feelings. And it's like...
Thank you. That's nice.
He goes, I'm just here with my friends. He goes, I'm just here with my friends. I'm trying to have a girls' night.
Well, that's why I think Spectral Vision's destiny might be to be a mentor figure to the Young Avengers. He might disappear for a while. He could be a component of Multiverse of Madness. I don't think Paul Bettany's been confirmed to return in Multiverse of Madness. He might be there as a cameo.
He might come at the very end, and then we're going to be like, oh, shoot, it's White Vision again. He came back.
Yeah. But I think we're getting to a version of the Vision that we saw at the end of Age of Ultron, just like pure philosophy. And I love that. I loved his debate with Ultron at the end of Age of Ultron. He's like, something isn't great just because it lasts, you know? And this is that whole ship of Theseus reminded me of that. And I can't wait to see just like the philosopher in chief of the MCU be Vision, because Paul Bettany does it so well. Let's take another question.
What the is Doctor Strange's excuse for not pulling up, bro? Sorcerer Supreme, my ass. More like fucking Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme.
For real, man. Like, true.
I wish I could take the audio and save it forever. That was so freaking funny. More like the Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme. He is the Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme, dude.
He is the Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme. Crunchwrap Supreme is actually useful and tasty. Doctor Strange is nowhere to be found.
Ooh,
just eating his ice cream with Wong.
He is. I said it earlier. I think he just straight up is busy doing something else, and this is so minuscule to him. Of like, and that's what we're gonna see. I think it's gonna be the same time. So it's gonna be him dealing with something that's much bigger. Like it's like his problem can swallow the world. Well, Wanda's is just swallowing the small town of New Jersey. So to him, he's like,
and Doctor Strange hates New Jersey.
Yeah, he's allergic to it.
He hates New Jersey.
He said, I saw Jersey Shore and I'm never going to that place.
It's literally right across the river. I can see it from my penthouse and I'm never going there. I can
smell it and I'm not going there.
No, but I think to answer your question the best I can is, right now, I guess they didn't want to pay Benedict Cumberbatch to be in this. They just gave some heavy nods. But it's not just Doctor Strange, dude. It's all of the Avengers. Why did they just leave Wanda out to dry right now? Like, Hulk is around.
I don't think they were allowed.
Like, he's like, we don't want to overshadow Vision and Wanda. That's what this is. Like, If you bring in these other characters, it overshadows their story. It's a story thing, but you're right. It doesn't make sense. And this is a massive threat. Why aren't more people helping?
It was, but it's still, again, it only, which is not a good excuse, but it only encompassed a small town of Westview. It was not like 1 million people like New York when they're getting destroyed. It was literally like 30 people. Yeah, and they weren't
Hayward
harmed.
made it sound like he covered it up, like he was able to keep it a secret.
He was.
But Doctor Strange, as a Sorcerer Supreme, like Agatha could sense the hex, and she just floated over there. She's like, "What's this magic?" It's like she smelled some barbecue cooking next door, and then she's like, "I'm hungry." And she brings her own Tupperware and loads it up. Like Doctor Strange should have done that. He's a wizard. He's not far. He should have sensed it.
I think Wong should have showed up for sure, just to see what the hell was happening. But then they wouldn't have won against Agatha?
No, I think, I don't know. If Agatha versus Strange, I mean, Strange and Wong together, I think could have handled
Together,
her.
yes. But one by themselves, I don't, especially if they went into that basement, which I'm sure she'd lure them into. And they can't use
Strange totally could. Yeah, maybe if she lured him in the basement, you're right. But Strange is Sorcerer Supreme. That guy can like jump through multiverses and shit.
And he's
like
smart.
He can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like she firsthand experiences it while he just reads about it. Not saying that reading about it won't make you smart. It's that like she's like, yeah, I've been actually practicing with it. I lived with it for hundreds of years. you're literally a surgeon that lost like just shaky hands. Like, I'm not gonna what?
You lost your shaky hands.
Cool. You lost your shaky hands. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Which is what I also said about Wanda earlier. I was like, Wanda would beat Doctor Strange because she's been birthed with this power and has it forever. Whereas he still, again, is a man that just got it and was reading about it. It's kind of hard to be like, I read all about it, but it's like, yeah, but did you live with it? Did you practice all the time?
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Let's take another question from Stereo.
I think Ralph is the missing person, and do you think that's his real name, or it'll be revealed that he's someone else? Also, I loved the show, and I love this show.
Oh, thank you so much.
But I don't think so.
I appreciate that.
I love you.
Yeah, I think, guys, the way that I kind of have to put Mephisto to bed for now, we can maybe look at him for the future. The show could not have been more clear about how uninterested they are with like Ralph and Evan Peters going forward. Yeah, I think his name is Ralph Bohner. The fact that they showed us 2 pieces of information, like that being his name, I don't think he's a missing person because they would have spelled that out more. And like, it's weird for a young actor to be someone who's in federal witness protection, right? Like, he's like, why, if you're an actor, when you're in federal witness protection, they tell you to avoid all media. They tell you not to go to sporting events because you might be on the Jumbotron. Like, you're not going to be an actor printing out headshots with your face on it if you're in federal witness protection. Yeah, so that's my issue with that. And I think he was just, Agatha kind of invaded his home, made him her husband.
100%.
And unfortunately, there's nothing more to it than that. And I think this missing witness of Jimmy Woo, unfortunately, there's nothing more to the hex. And that's what drew him into it. But I think it's not great writing, honestly. I overall, the writing on the show has been amazing, but I don't think there's more to it than that. I think they just needed a quick justification to get the FBI involved. And I think it was a poorly thought out way of doing it, because otherwise it'd be an easy thing to address in this episode, and they didn't. And when else are they going to address it?
Did we figure out who Cliff was that he was on the phone with?
I think that's just his FBI friend. Okay. I think we learned from this show, don't read too much into friends at other agencies that they call or text, because clearly, now the aerospace engineer drives me nuts, because it's like, you spent multiple scenes building this up.
There have to be that in the damn mailman. I'm holding on to it. He did it again. He had another line that said, "Don't shoot the messenger." And I was like, who was the messenger? I know that you're a physical messenger, but who was a messenger?
I'm wondering now if Dennis the mailman is his, because, you know, the post office is a federal agency. Maybe that's the job they got him. Oh, I don't think he's a Skrull, but he was on their board. I just wonder if, like, we never got a very close-up look of Dennis the mailman's his identifying piece of paper on the board. I wonder if Jimmy's like, hey, here's my missing guy, and now he's being warped into this like weird mailman guy. Actually, you know what? He wasn't. Now that I think of it, he was a pizza delivery guy, which also could work. You could imagine that being your job if you're in federal witness protection, as you're a pizza delivery guy. I don't think there's gonna be more to it than that.
I don't think there is either.
Again, thanks to Privacy for sponsoring this episode. Privacy is a tool that makes it super easy to manage your financial lives online while keeping all of your information secure. By generating virtual numbers, Privacy masks your bank information so you never have to worry about giving it out to those ne'er-do-wells lurking behind all the internet corners. It's easy to share cards with friends and family using Privacy's shared cards. Parents can set caps on how much the kids can spend, and businesses can send cards with spending limits to employees for company expenses. You can buy the office donuts, Carl, but no stopping at Bass Pro Shops for camping gear. I like Privacy for recurring payments, like for streaming services that I want some months, but not the month after. So I've set up a Privacy account, linked my bank account, and created a card specifically for my Netflix subscription payment. So like, if I only want this for a month and I forget, as I always forget, I can just set it for 1 month to begin with, and then Privacy will ding you if they try to charge the card twice, or if the charge exceeds the amount you set for it, and then you can just like let the things you forget about die off. It's so great. And you can fill out your credit card info in the Privacy.com Chrome and Firefox extension, and you're one click away from spending smartly and safely. Just head to Privacy.com/newrockstars and sign up for an account. New customers will automatically get $5 to spend on your first purchase. Go to Privacy.com/newrockstars and sign up now. Let's take another question.
Okay, so
My question is what do you want to see most from Wanda in future events? In Multiverse of Madness and anything else she is in?
So I want a Multiverse of Madness to be the event that establishes mutants. I hope it's a House of M style event, and I hope that in her pursuit to try to find her kids, she goes into reality where mutants exist, and somehow that reality gets merged with ours, and then we end Multiverse of Madness with mutants. There was some speculation report that Marvel might be working on a title called The Mutants. That just came from one of these scoopers who, conveniently love to scoop stuff on hours before a big Marvel title is about to come out, right when it'll blow up the most on social media. So that's why I don't trust most of these scoopers. But I do hope that an X-Men thing comes soon, and that is the way they do it. So personally, I want that. And then on an emotional level, I want Wanda not to be an outright villain, but just a figure who teaches us how to feel in the MCU. I think WandaVision's been so good at that, at just embracing empathy for characters' emotional grief. And I want more of that. And I want Wanda to be the leader of that in the MCU.
I want... I want a female villain, but I also want... We can't get Wanda not being a straight up villain without her saying no more mutants. So it's like, I still want that line of not the no more mutants, but something of the such. I want that line somewhere in there. So it's like she has to get rid of something in order to say that line. So I think that's what equivalates like in an equation for her to be a villain. So I want to see that really badly, that line or some sort of piece of that line. So whether it's her straight up just like getting rid of something, that's sometimes what it's gonna have to be. But then also I want the X-Men to show up so much, but now I feel like it's less likely. Or they're gonna do it and they're just gonna shove it down our throats with one movie. Not like one movie, but like they're gonna be like out of nowhere. It's like, okay, here's your movie. And then Eternals, like, hopefully they talk about it. But I don't know. It seems like they're still like structured for just MCU stuff. And then like, it's in the MCU, but like they're like just structured for what they've already been doing. And then Kevin Feige, once he gets like the actual like, we're gonna green light this thing right now, they're gonna slide it in, but we just don't know it yet. So I think they're just trying not to even think of the X-Men right now.
Well, and I think the biggest nail in the coffin of this mutants theory, and I could be totally wrong, I don't know what sources these scoopers claim they have, but I would be surprised if Marvel would just do a title called The Mutants. Or,
I think it is. I think
I think they would do one at a time. Like, start with Cyclops, start with just Wolverine, start with,
I think they're just gonna...
Professor X. Do solo type. There's so much you can wring out of the X-Men. Why just do a movie where it's going to be a lot of them together? Just start with one character at a time and then build it up. Introduce us to each character before you bring them together in a team.
It's about to be their franchise. So it's like, treat it like you do the Avengers. Give them each their own thing. But then I also realistically, I don't know why, but or Shuri or whoever. And I'm like, but you're in the same franchise now. You guys are in the same Spider-Man. And it's like, we're not going to forget about Spider-Man. We just need you to give each of these people their own thing too. Like, I know that we kind of saw it in the 2000s, but it's like, you can redo it, make it better. Come on, please do it. Also bring in more X-Men that we haven't seen. Give them their own storyline. Give Darwin a new storyline.
Please, just give Darwin his movie, please.
The first 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think if it doesn't end up happening through the multiverse, and people hate it when I bring up this theory, but honestly, the easiest way narratively is to just suggest that they've been there the whole time. The way they're going to say the Skrulls have been there the whole time.
They have to.
And I think that's what Eternals might be. I think Eternals is going to show us the origin of mankind and mutant kind and deviant kind and eternal kind and maybe even but I think I hope we get a hint towards Apocalypse, like he was the first mutant in human history, I think, right? Yeah, he was the first one on Earth at least. And I want to get some hint. Since we're going to ancient Egypt, let's just see a hieroglyphic with Apocalypse there, please.
Give it to us again. I hope, but I think you're right. It's like they can't go in like all guns blazing X-Men. I think they're gonna just like slowly like drip it in. Yeah. So it's gonna be like they've been here. They've just been like, we're gonna see Reed Richards immediately just like doing science in like this building that we've already seen, and it's like, wait, what? Wait, like, he's been here this entire time, and it's like, we gotta slowly trickle it in. We can't just shove it down. You gotta take bites. You can't just swallow the full hamburger. You'll choke.
Exactly. Chew it.
You
All
gotta
right,
chew it.
let's take another question.
What the hell was Mr. Scratchy? Why did we not hear anything about the bloody
Oh, yeah,
rabbit after all this time?
Our theory about the rabbit kind of went out the window too.
Oh yeah.
Everything
Yes,
went
it
out the window.
did.
There was no rabbit at the end. He just ate that cicada bird and never showed up again. Yeah. There's a lot of holes,
The
I
rabbit
guess.
did not show up.
Is there a lot of
one of
holes, or
our
my
loose
theories are
threads.
Just not. Yeah, I don't think it's holes. I think it's just I dug too deep.
I think, I mean, my best answer for you is that it was MCU Agatha's version of her cat. In the comics, she has her cat, Ebony, and this is just her animal counterpart, and they made it a rabbit. Why? Maybe to throw us off the scent a little bit.
Still demonic. Or demonic traits.
Yeah.
Witchcraft, it can encompass rabbits as well as goats and cats.
Sure.
They were like, it
Sure.
can't be a goat. It can't be a goat. They were like, it can't be a goat. It's got to be a rabbit.
Yeah, it's, again, expectation management, right? Like, they bring back that rabbit again and again and again. I don't blame them for naming it Senor Scratchy. Although, do rabbits scratch? I
Yeah, they
have
got
never
nails.
owned a
They
pet
got-
rabbit.
The
Okay,
one time I
okay.
held a rabbit, it scratched the crap out of me. By
Okay.
accident. It was on purpose.
Yeah. So I don't blame them for naming it. Well, there's a million different ways you can look into any character name. But like bringing that rabbit back, making it the close up when it comes back from her origin story in episode 8. They put a lot of focus on that rabbit and literally did nothing with it in the finale. It's like you didn't need to include all those shots of the rabbit.
Exactly how I feel about the mailman. I was like, there is way too many, which I'm sure not everyone thinks of. I'm just literally a media studies kid, where I was like, you guys spent way too much time on this man. You gave him way too many lines, way too many close-ups. I'm gonna think there's something very important about it. And same with Senior Scratchy. I was like, oh, dude, that rabbit's getting way too much stage time. But
we'll talk more. We have our next episode of Inside Marvel. We're going to go really deep into all these like loose ends, these unanswered questions, this plus many, many others. So we'll have hopefully some better answers for you then.
I think the Easter eggs that you guys were finding throughout the show, like each week while it was airing, weren't meant to be found until like years later when like Mephisto actually makes an appearance, like how we've been doing with the movies. So like they didn't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. I think some of these things, and you know what? That's why I call them like details. If you watch our videos, because a missable detail, number 1, number 2. Some of these are intentional Easter eggs. Some of them are just like interesting cinematic choices. Like in episode 6, when I found that whole VFX thing of the woman who was pinning up her decorations in her yard, and I found out how they did like a split screen with her husband just so they could change up the syncing of time, just to put that sense of unease in your head. Like things like that are what interests me when I'm watching stuff. When I find little filmmaking details that show like some kind of creative thought by the editor, by the director, by the writer. And so sometimes these things like the ship of Theseus, you can't really call that an Easter egg, but it's like an interesting choice, you know? And these details give a new layer of meaning. It's not always an Easter egg pointed to some character's arrival or some big theory that's been confirmed, but it just shows you that this is art and there's a lot of craft that goes into it. And it's just interesting to see these things that like, oh, the way they did the lighting, they added a red filter to this. Like, that's cool for this episode. It wasn't other episodes. But you are right in terms of our theorizing. Yeah, I mean, we start to connect the dots in ways that the writers did not intend us to connect.
Yeah.
That is on us, but it's also like, you know, it's kind of fun to do that week to week and just speculate. And as long as at the end of it, which we don't do this, we don't be like, that's it, I'm canceling Disney Plus subscription. I'm happy to take whatever ending they're going to give us, but recognize that there is a responsibility by the director and the writer to understand how an audience is going to interpret this. And when your core audience are people who love Marvel films, and you put in Evan Peters in this, how do you think they're going to react?
Hey, and I know that year the Game of Thrones finale came out, wants their joke back, but it's nothing like that. It's not like
nothing like Game of Thrones.
It's nothing like the end of Game of Thrones, dude. So
yeah, because the ending of Game of Thrones, they completely stopped caring about who Daenerys was as a character, who Jon Snow, who Tyrion. Like, I don't have a problem with Bran being king by the end of it, but they rushed all this.
They did my girl Brienne so wrong.
Jamie Lannister, what? It was like they forgot who their characters were.
It hits.
And they had this outline of where their characters needed to go, and then they completely forgot to characterize, which WandaVision did not fall into that.
Yeah.
WandaVision did such a good job understanding who they always kept Wanda's character journey as a priority. And that's why I think on that end they stuck the landing. 100%. They muddled up some of the fan service stuff, forgivable, I think, because they kept the heart of the show true. And it was this relationship between Wanda and Vision and understanding Wanda's journey to understand who she is as the Scarlet Witch. And by the end of it, I think they did that. I think it was success. It looks like we have time for one more question. We're going to take it here.
What do you guys think about Ralph's powers? What I mean by that is Ralph using Quicksilver's powers without being Quicksilver, and there was no explanation. Do you guys think it was Agatha's necklace that gave him the powers, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that was the inference there, right? Like he has his necklace, and that's how she's giving him all of his powers. Yeah, which is interesting because it implies that she can give people, she can control her minions, whether it's Ralph or anyone else in the town, the superpowers, right? So why didn't she do that more?
She's smart.
Why didn't she do that with Herb? Why didn't she let Herb the neighbor become invisible or burst into flames or shoot lasers out of his fingertips?
Also, she didn't puppet. She said that when like Dottie turned back, she's like, "What did you do to her?" She's like, "I didn't do anything. I just cut your strings." Like that was her magic. It was Wanda's magic. She couldn't just like she couldn't just. It made no sense how you were doing all this, and I'm tired of waiting. So I'm just gonna choke your children out.
Right.
I'm just gonna.
And I think the idea was making Ralph, this random actor in Westview, New Jersey, a speedster. It was really a reflection of Agatha trying to convince Wanda that this was her brother, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Pietro. And who was he? He was a speedster. So in order for Wanda to be convinced, this person also needed to be a speedster. But it does set up some interesting implications that the show didn't really address. Like, if she can give anyone superpowers, do you think it would be useful for Agnes to do this more by the end? Like, at the end, funny in its own way. But then by the end, we would still be confused. We'd be like, wait, so how is he? He's just through this necklace? Like, he's being controlled by her? He's just this other dude? Like, it just feels like they brushed past it. And I mean, even without Evan Peters, it's still a little confusing to anyone watching this. Not just the fans who have been confused by Evan Peters.
It was truly just for us. It was just for the fans. It was like a nod, but we... Not even we read too into it. They shouldn't have put it in there. not to like literally put notes on your screenplay, but we were gonna read too much into it and be like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. But it was literally just like yo, isn't this funny? It's a TV show, and we're putting Quicksilver in from Sony or from the other franchise
from the Fox universe.
Yeah, from the Fox.
Yeah,
universe.
that's clearly how it was intended, and I think ultimately and I have some theories on why they did this and what this tells us about Marvel's plans for mutants in the MCU. We'll talk about that on Wednesdays Inside Marvel. But really, I think this is just the fact that WandaVision was never intended to be the first Marvel Phase 4 title.
Oh, and yeah, which is true.
I think the fact that we would look at this after, I think, our longest gap since Phase 1 between movies, that fans would devour this as ravenously as we have. I don't think Marvel could possibly understand how that would be interpreted. I would argue they should have expected a bit more, especially since everyone has been waiting for years to see how Feige will reboot the X-Men. I think they should have known better than to just think Evan Peters would just be seen as a joke or just a funny thing that we would laugh off. But hopefully they learned this lesson. I don't think it was disastress for the MCU by any means. I think I still love the show, and I think it gave way more to the MCU than it took. Far more.
It definitely isn't Game of Thrones.
All right, we are going to close out with just a couple comments here from you guys.
I just want to say thank you to you, Eric and Jessica, both, and then the off-screen people behind the scenes for taking us on such a great journey this year. I really do appreciate it, and I love every single thing that you guys put out, wrong or not.
Thank you. I think that's so sweet of you to say. I know we're not always like reliable when it comes to the accuracy of our theories, but we really are just trying to have fun with this and just try to pitch stuff that, you know, Jessica and I are writers, like fun stuff we'd like to see based off of the trajectory of things. And, you know, ultimately gratitude is what we try to cling to, and not this entitlement that we're owed anything. And it seems like you feel the same way, and we appreciate that. We appreciate
Personally, I think I love having just the chat with the people when I get to have the chat with the people on Twitter. Mainly because I was like, now going forward, though WandaVision's over, Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm still gonna watch it at midnight, and I'm probably gonna tweet about it with you guys and be like, y'all, I need to talk this out. Like, there were some times where I did like talk to you guys to talk it out, because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that. So it's like, you guys are very necessary. Like, I need you.
Yes. Well, you are necessary to us, because I'm not joking, folks. This journey that you've loved, it is just beginning, friends. We got Falcon Winter Soldier, we got Loki, we got all these other Marvel Phase 4 titles. Woo! We have Marvel movies coming back, hopefully soon. It's going to get wild. And that's why I'm saying we got all these new projects and properties. Jessica is going to be part of it. We got all new team members who are going to be joining the lineup.
When you guys start doing Rogue Theories, I want to be on all the ones for Eternals. I want to talk Eternals. Eternals!
Oh, yeah. You'll be there. We need you. We need you there. Yeah. All right. And then one final comment here.
Thank you both for all your work. You make being in fandom amazing and fun.
Oh, thank you as well. That's okay. We're here for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up for now. I gotta jump on this breakdown. And by the time you're watching this on YouTube, it will already be out there in the world. But we want to thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been such a delight breaking this down. We'll be back for one more Inside Marvel episode on Wednesday. Be sure to stick around on Stereo, because we got a bunch of great new shows that are going to be coming out nearly every day of the week if we can help it. So thank you so much. Be sure to follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemens on Twitter, and follow me at EA Voss. Be sure to check out one of our great merch options, NewRockstarsMerch.com, and follow New Rockstars on all social media. Subscribe to New Rockstars on YouTube. Hit that notification bell to get our videos as soon as they come out. Jessica, it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
Of course, as always. Good boy.
Bye-bye.